Hello, Chicago. It's time for another episode of
The
Podcast. I am your illustrious host, Justin J. Warren. Do we have an amazing show for you? I cannot wait to introduce our special guest. Tonight, we are talking about music. What is going on in the music industry? Is it for the good? Is it for the bad? We discuss tonight. What about the power of music? Why is music so important to us? We've got two music people here that are going to talk about that. Running a band, running a group. What's that like? You'll find out tonight with two people who have done that. And of course, we are going to promote our wonderful guest, and we end every episode of the podcast with the check of the week. It's all of that on this episode of the Chicago 60. And gentlemen, it is now time for the podcast. Well, hello everybody. It is I, your illustrious host, Justin J. War. And I am super excited to be back here with all of you. We have an amazing episode. Just like I said, we've got an amazing topic and an amazing special guest. Before we get to our special guest, I would like to introduce my wonderful, beautiful, coronavirus-free, sorry. Am
I?
But wonderfully talented and amazing person. It is, of course,
Ron Russell. I'm so happy to be here. That was such a great intro, as usual. Mr. JJ!
Thank you very much, Ron. And, of course, we have our man in the booth. He's taking a fuck ton of photos right now.
Yeah, clicking back there.
It is quiet. Stormin' Norman. What's up, quiet Stormin' Norman?
Hey.
Nope, just hey it is. And, of course, we got our other mystical man from another land. It is Joe Nilo.
Joe Nilo! I had to do some different since Justin whispered.
That was good. Joe knows.
Oh, I fucking love it. That is your C60 crew here tonight. And now I have the wonderful pleasure of introducing our wonderful special guest.
That's
He
right.
is an extremely talented individual. He is musically lyrical. He is lyrically musical. He is an amazing composer, songwriter, musician, pianist. I don't know all the other instruments that he plays, but he is unbelievably talented. I have seen him play 5 times in concert live with his wonderful band that he started with an amazing crew called Gramps the Vamp.
That's right.
It is a man that I went to high school with at
Word.
Bennett Academy, and
Word.
now we're doing cool shit together. It is none
Word.
other than Maxx
Word.
McGathey.
What's up, everybody?
Hello. How you doing, man?
I'm good. Happy to be here.
Fantastic. Well, it's good to have you. It's
Shit.
wonderful to have you here. So
What an intro, I must say.
Well, it's warranted. That's all I have to say about that.
JJ.
That's right. Now, before we get into our wonderful podcast and all of the wonderful, crazy things that we do here today, I just wanted to let you know that our beer of the night is Kona Big Wave, a golden ale about waves that aren't golden, but it's an ale.
Yeah, and you just ride that wave until you can.
So, gentlemen, cheers to the podcast. You're drinking before your cheers, and Ron, gosh darn it.
Already up to my lips. Sorry.
Tastes like ocean. Just kidding. Okay. Uno mencito. Okay, so we've got an amazing episode here. In addition to the beer of the day, I'd like to let you all know that this episode is sponsored by Potholes. That's right, Potholes. Chicago, we know about potholes, and potholes have a message for you. We're coming. Winter is ending, and we're here. You thought that you'd avoid us? No. We're here to cause your car damage, to make your phone change songs in the middle of driving, to make sure that your axle on your wheel falls off when you really needed to get to work really early that morning, and now you're going to be an hour late, and then your boss is going to yell at you, and you have to stand there and say nothing because you know that saying that you got hit by a pothole is not a valid excuse. We're here. We're going to be here when you take the bus, and then the bus gets blown out tire because you hit a pothole because the city hasn't filled it, even though they have the funds to maybe do it, or do they? Who knows? But you know what? One quick request from us. don't draw a penis. Don't draw a penis to fill us in. That doesn't make us feel good at all.
No, it
Just let
doesn't.
us be there to make your life miserable. Potholes. We're here to make your life miserable. Well, thank you, Chicago Potholes. That was
Yeah, that was a.
you know
was
what
a good one.
you know what they sent us?
Draw a penis in a pothole?
Yeah, that was the story. So a lady actually
I
drew a
missed that
penis
one.
around the pothole, and then they came and filled it in because they didn't want to leave the penis on the street.
Oh.
So yeah, potholes
But
don't like
it
that
got
either.
them to fill it in though.
That's true. It did.
Draw more penises.
It did. Yeah, draw more penises.
This is big ones.
Super big penises.
Big ones. Why are we whispering? Hey, guess what? It says the ground is black. It's black penises.
Big black penises to fill in potholes. Okay, well, that's
Great way to start out the show.
Yeah, that's a very great way.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
a
it's
super
that
great
kind
way. Well, I know what the potholes sent us, a bunch of gravel. I thought was interesting. Thanks, potholes.
Thank you.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, after those kind words from potholes, we wanted to get into talking with our wonderful special guest. You run the band Gramps the Vamp,
Yes,
which
I do.
is fantastic. We went to Bennett Academy together.
We did.
graduated the same year.
Yeah.
Joe is also
2008.
a Bennett Academy
No
graduate.
way.
4 years our senior, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, man, go Red Wings.
Go.
Justin did not. Justin didn't tell me this heads up, so that was cool. That was a
Yeah,
nice surprise.
I'm full of surprises. So there you go. Now, Max, you are musically talented. And I know because I've seen you perform, and we were listening to a bit of your music in the intro here. You pretty much are the main composer, or you compose all the music, and then how does that work?
I'm the main composer, but it's definitely a bit of a collaboration on
Okay,
on
gotcha.
a lot of this stuff.
Gotcha. Okay. Very good. But it's delightful music. I love listening to it. And I've seen you guys perform, like I said, about 5 times. It's been absolutely fantastic. So what I wanted to talk with you, since our man across from me over there, Ron, is also a very musically talented individual in the hip-hop and rap game over here.
Yes.
I wanted to talk a little bit about the music industry,
Mm-hmm.
music in general, today in America, what you're witnessing. You both involved with the music industry, but you come from a little bit of a different side of it. Running like a hip hop rap group, doing a band that's got a very unique sound, and how difficult it is to navigate an industry where so many people are involved, but everybody's trying to get to a certain place to get people to listen to their music, to get inspired by the music, and then hopefully that bears a lot of fruit, as they say. So, Max, I wanted to start out asking you, just in general, being in the music industry, teaching music, etc., being around musicians, running your own band, what are some trends you're noticing in the music industry today that you find are perhaps being detrimental to the expansion or the enjoyment of music listening today? Because I have some thoughts, but I want to start with getting you up.
That's a deep question.
Yes.
2 things come to mind. One is the democratization of music and how you don't need labels anymore. Like it's almost considered like you're almost considered a dummy to like work with a label and give away like your rights and just for a little advance up front when you can really do it yourself. My band Gramps the Vamp is running an Indiegogo campaign right now to make an album, and that's because we don't have any label support, and quite frankly, that's okay. That's cool with us. So it's definitely a big trend in the music industry is that you can do it yourself. And the second thing that springs out of that is that you get very hyper specialized styles because you don't have to fit any kind of mold that the label is imposing on you. And again, my band is kind of a expression of that kind of freedom to just really like find a niche and stick with that. So I think it's actually really positive. I think it's really interesting hearing all of the creativity that is not being, filtered by labels and by the business, and it's more just like if somebody wants to make a specific kind of music that they come up with, you can do it. You can put it on social media. You can put it on Spotify. You can get it out to people. Right. There's a lot of challenges that come along with that, but I think it's positive.
Interesting. So, Ron, have you come across this at all? Also about particularly in like the hip hop rap game, I feel like a lot of I don't know, but this is me making. Based on my observations, it seems like there's
say what you gotta say,
a
Jay.
lot of rappers are trying to. Well, they're doing their own stuff, going to open mics and things like that. But it seems like some of the great ones have gone off on their own, but they always seem like they're either in a group of some side or of some kind, or they're trying to get with a larger recording label. Like I'm trying to get with Jay-Z's label. I'm trying to get with. So is that slightly different than what Max is saying, or is there a general similar theme?
Max is. I mean, he's dead on. No one is using labels anymore. It's just not, because the labels, only thing the label is nothing but a bank. Mm-hmm. You know, if you're smart, you would pretty much use label money for promotion, advertising. Mm-hmm. You know, you would go into the studio. You know, you get this money. You know, from the label. You know, you got to record all your music. You got to promote your stuff. You know, you got to pay all. You got so many people you have to pay. And rap, hip hop is power in numbers. Yep. So as far as when you're saying people are looking to group and collaborate with people, it's a great way to help market yourself and also cross market the other artists if you're not necessarily in the same crew. At this point right now, which is really cool with streaming, all of the artists that I listen to, you know, I grew up listening to, these guys are still putting music out by themselves independently, and now they're collaborating with artists that they probably never would have before, because when you're signed to a label, you have to do what they say.
Yeah,
you know, you have to work things out. They have to pay those artists. You know, they have to give you the money to pay for a guest appearance and stuff like that. Now you got guys that probably would have never worked with each other, and they actually are putting full-length projects out, and they're doing it consistently. You know, I think with the streaming service, so it's a gift and a curse to streaming, because you really have to be putting up like Ed Sheeran numbers to like benefit from streaming. You know what I'm saying? Right. Or you got to really diversify yourself and be across all the platforms, you know, and still perform. Like that is the number one way to earn money, is the live performances and your merchandise. Labels can't take that. That's all you. Streaming services are great. It helps you to get out there, you know, and that's what everyone's doing now. You know, I mean, even if you're not on a streaming service, I mean, people being discovered on SoundCloud and things like that. So you don't need a label. Yes, you have to do everything yourself, and that's why probably those that are signed to labels may be not that business savvy. You know, they know how to record music and things like that, but they don't know how to walk their dogs to go and put that music out, because it is it's music business. You know, you got to be able to do the second part. Because the first part, creating, is easy. It's the getting out there and pushing yourself and promoting and being, you know, the rejections and trying to sell your product in hand and stuff like that. So that's where it is right now. But I agree with Max. I mean, I feel like the only people that's on labels now are like well-established artists, or artists that have been packaged so well they've pretty much been put together. You know, and who knows how long they're going to be signed to that label. It may be a 1-2 album deal. They might bounce and do their own thing independently. A lot of people might take a deal, get themselves out there. Once that contract or they fulfill their obligations for that deal, they go off and do their own thing, and they just flourish, because now, like you said, you got all the freedom in the world.
Yeah. Well, it was interesting. You brought up something I wanted to get to about like SoundCloud and stuff. So Max, obviously hip hop and rap is a fairly well-recognized, well-supported, very popular music genre. And then we had another fellow on here, Elijah Burlow, who's like a folk music singer. You, with your band, Gramps the Vamp, have a very unique niche type of music style. So for people like yourself and like other groups and bands, like the other genres that I feel like, that I really like, but I feel like don't get as much of the hype, where, other than like a SoundCloud and stuff, where do you put your music out? Where are your friends or people that you know in the industry putting out? Like, what's the promotion style that's different from like what you're trying to do in kind of like this, overly media hype thing? and the reason why I asked is because I love what the music you do, and what my buddy
Thank you.
Elijah does, and several other musicians that I know they're doing like jazz and other things like that people might enjoy, but it's just not like I
How do you
personally
get
don't
to
even
it?
know where to go to
Right.
find it, right? So what are some of the trends for that, and like how do you feel people like yourself and other people you know that are in those genres can get out more and get more listeners to this?
Well, there are blogs that, like, just people that listen to music all day put all, tell you exactly what they think of the music, and just it's a locus for discovering new stuff. And I used to look at a lot more blogs to find music, but these days I've been on Bandcamp,
Sure.
and Bandcamp is amazing. Like, you can really like get it down. You can narrow the style of music you're looking for down really, really specifically. And it's very artist friendly. Like, there's a limit to how much you can, well, I think you have an option as an artist to limit how many streams before someone has to buy the album.
Yep.
So I think for us, we do like, you can listen to it 5 times, but then if you like it that much, we're going to listen to it for the 6th time. Send us $1 a song,
Sure.
But
send Max and his crew that dollar.
yeah,
I mean,
it's just
seriously.
$1 a song.
Just $1.
God. Jesus.
Blunts cost more than that, man.
But Bandcamp's amazing, and I get their like weekly newsletter. They know everything I like, and they just send me new stuff that people are putting out. And it's some of the artists are on labels, some of them are indie labels, some of them are on no labels. It's just like about the music and about reaching out directly to the listeners. So I like Bandcamp a lot.
Bandcamp, yeah, I've seen some other people using
Shout out to Bandcamp. It's been around forever.
Yeah,
Yep.
so that's that seems to be a useful tool for people. Is it? I'm unfamiliar. So is it useful to like? Can you scroll around and find music? Do you find that a lot of people are actively going to these types of platforms to find unique music?
I feel like if anyone is on Bandcamp, they are definitely a music lover. Like, it's not going to be like your kind of person that's like every now and then they just listening to like the top 40 stuff. They're probably not going to be on Bandcamp. A lot of artists that promote themselves and put their music out, they're definitely putting their stuff out on there. And people that follow those individual artists, they're probably on Bandcamp looking for exclusive, underground, new, cutting edge. It's kind of like, it reminds me of like Pitchfork. I feel like Pitchfork is like, if you're on Pitchfork, you're bubbling. You're about to blow. You know what I'm saying? You might do Pitchfork for a couple of years, then you'll do the Lollapalooza. So I feel like Bandcamp is definitely full. Like you said, you got signed artists on there, you got indie artists, you got people that aren't signed, they just pretty much doing it for themselves. But I think you have to be a real music lover if you know about that. Yeah.
Interesting. Well, it's interesting that you mentioned that, because I wanted to ask specifically about people who I find are artists and very musically inclined, really good at their craft of creating music, versus like the celebrity person, right? So like people who are at Pitchfork there are some bands that have huge followings that are not like the celebrity status. So Max, my question to you about that is, what are your thoughts about the music celebrity versus the true artist? Because I would consider you a true artist, because the music, I mean, that song that we were playing has, it's intricate, it's complicated. Like
Yes. It is.
There are movements to it.
Yes.
Whereas today, there's a lot of music where it's like the same beat over and over again. But those people who put out that music are like, can have like celebrity status, and people who are doing legitimate quality music, yourself, it's like, why aren't people like you more out in there, like more people out there noticing people who are doing amazing stuff like you, like my friend Elijah, who are putting out really quality music stuff. So my question is, do you think that there's or have you witnessed a trend at all, or from being at concerts with people who are, because I know you have quite a following actually. There's a lot of people that I know who have been there. I've seen people go regular to your shows and like are supportive and everything. So I guess where I'm trying to get the crux of the question is, do you find that this kind of celebrity status of musicians and pop stars and stuff is an overall, like, is it a detriment to the art of music in some way, or is it helpful to people who are trying to make it or doing their own unique thing?
Well, I don't want to hate on anybody who like has that celebrity status because they're because there's a million different ways they could have achieved that.
Sure.
Maybe they had a really cool video and like that video went viral, or like maybe people just like their music so much that they have just such enthusiastic fans that they are on that level. But I don't think it like negatively affects like other artists that don't have that celebrity. I mean, with us, like we're an instrumental band, so like there's always gonna be like that like limit to like the audience, and we're aware of that, and we still enjoy what we do, and there's instrumental bands that are very big.
When you say a limit to your audience, do you mean like a cap? Like
it's like we're not gonna be like on I don't know, like we're not. This is a really out of date reference, but we're not gonna be like on MTV and like what I mean. Like we're not gonna be
right.
Which is okay. I mean,
which is fine. But kind of my point also.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, no offense about the rap game, whatever. There's a lot of great rappers and stuff like that.
None taken.
But I do feel like sometimes it's just I don't know what the right term is. I can think of it, but basically like recycled. Yes, like a recycling of artists. Like here's the one, they do this type of music, and then they come and here's the next guy, and he kind of does the exact same thing. So, and then there's like music like what Max does and what other people are doing that I'm listening to, and I'm like, damn, this is like quality stuff. Like there is a whole genre called indie. Music and all the different genres. And I'm like,
to piggyback off what you're saying, as far as like commercial go, commercial, and I always say hip hop / rap because it's a fine line at this point. A lot of people be claiming hip hop, but I don't see no hip hop elements in your song. I don't hear it. I don't see it. I don't feel it. So I'm gonna call it rap. You got a lot of music, a lot of rap music out. This seems like, oh man, I've seen this guy before. I've heard this before. But there are a ton of artists that are incredible and incredibly unique, lyrical, and everything, and they're not getting the shine that they should get. It's the same thing, about Max, and it goes both ways. It just all depends on what it is that you're what you're into. You got a lot of people that pretty much generate or they dominate the charts, and a lot of people like that because it's commercial. It's that quick, low attention span music. I kind of like some stuff that got a little bit more substance myself. But stuff sounds good, but it just kind of go in one ear and right out the other. I'm like, oh, I'm done with it. But something with some substance, some meat on it, I can ride out to that for some time.
I would say though that the way that artists can just directly reach their fans. This kind of goes back to your like first question.
Sure.
With all of social media and all that stuff, like it kind of like doesn't matter as much anymore if you have that celebrity status. Because like in the past, what that meant was people would you would find an audience, but now I think you can find an audience like on the internet, and you just have to have you just have to smartly market yourself and like make it clear what you're doing and put yourself out there on the right channels. And I mean, there's a whole host of questions and minutia that goes into that. But I think it is like a positive time for people that aren't looking to be that like next celebrity artist, but are just trying to like make something creative and different.
There's a lot of people who have made it who are YouTube famous. Like, I mean, Justin Bieber is a great example. Billie Eilish is a great example. They were just putting out music.
Taylor Swift.
I mean, yeah, and then they
I didn't know Billie Eilish. I didn't know she was discovered on YouTube.
I don't know if it was YouTube, but I can't say, but I heard through the grapevine she put out some music and people
she's killing it right now.
And she's very young.
She's very young.
Very young. So so was Justin Bieber when he started out.
From a family too, though.
Yeah. So Is that do you find, Max, that a lot of people are going, particularly the people that you may know, are going that route to they're putting out their music in that way, or do you find there's more of like I'm doing this for the art of it. I love making music. What happens will happen. Or do you find that people are really very in tune to the marketing aspect of what they're doing? Because you know what I mean? Because there's kind of like the stereotype of like the artsy guy, the artsy musician who's like, yeah, man, I'm just going to make music and whatever. Like a barista, very, very fancy barista at a coffee shop.
Right.
And then there's some people who are like, no, I want to be famous and blah, blah. So do you find like there are people like that you work with or whatever? Or
Yeah, I've met a little bit of both.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that there's nothing wrong with trying to reach an audience. There's nothing wrong with trying to reach out and get more people to come to your shows, get more people to buy your music, get more people to stream your music. There's definitely not any kind of selling out quality to doing that. I think that old paradigm of selling out to the commercial industry is kind of just doesn't apply anymore.
It really doesn't. There's no rules. There's no rules anymore.
Yeah.
There's no rules.
It's just about I think of my music as like a business and like, all right, how can I keep this going? How can I make it so that it provides enough of a return so that I can keep doing it?
Right.
Right.
That's essentially what it comes down to. It's a small business.
Max, I want to
that's
ask you.
100%.
I want to ask you a question. And going back on, I find this. I think there can be an interesting conundrum here, in that with the internet, you're able to reach your niche. But that niche can exist anywhere in the world. Yeah. And when you have a very specific genre or a specific type of music, and when people are able to search and find like this like ultra specific thing that they're looking for, you're going to build an audience. You can build a pretty big audience, but they're going to come from all over the world. But still, as a musician, your ultimate success, at least monetarily, is always going to come from live shows. So how do you battle that conundrum? And do you have an audience that is international?
We do, actually. That was a really exciting thing to discover, is when we started selling records on Bandcamp. People, like, every now and then we get an order from France. Every now and then we get an order from Italy. Like, I never did anything to to market over there. It just kind of reached people, and it's so... I mean, it really is such a intentionally like niche type of music that I think people just found it. And what was your initial question?
Well, I guess the way I'm imagining this, and you can correct me, but I'm imagining that you could, as an artist, you can end up with a pretty large audience on the internet. But that audience would be scattered throughout the world.
Right.
And then you find, traditionally you want to do shows and build an audience close to where you live, and you slowly expand outward geographically. But, having a audience around the world, it can be hard to, where do you play your shows at?
Yeah. It's an interesting thing that we're like navigating in real time, like trying to figure out how to do it. And I don't know. I think that, so we have toured. We've done like 4 or 5 tours, like long tours, but then have done a lot of like Midwestern, like weekend here, weekend there in different cities. And we reach a lot of people that way organically. But I don't know. I would hope that the people in Italy and France that find our music, if we ever had a chance to go out there, we could make a tour work that way. So I think from my perspective, our strategy is just to find those niche people wherever they are. And also we make vinyl records, like a physical product. So there is something for people overseas to purchase.
Vinyl, which is great.
Yeah.
That's a great segue, because I actually wanted to start talking to you a little bit about, which is a unique thing that your band specifically is doing. And I mean, vinyl and records or a trend coming back with the millennial
it's pretty
generation
popular now.
specifically.
Yeah, it's been
very
coming,
popular.
It's been coming back and forth.
And you can
the
get
hipsters and everybody. Yeah.
Right, and you can get a very clear, wonderful sound from that also.
That's the best sound, man.
Yeah,
it's
it is.
Rich.
I mean, it really is. So that's really nifty. And I love that on your Indiegogo page, you've got the if you spend $666, you can do the backwards.
I thought that was
message
fun.
on a that is
It's actually
hilarious.
it's actually not a backwards message. It's etched.
Oh,
it's
etched
etched
in.
on the side.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Either way, it's still hilarious.
But yeah, I thought that
that's-
would be
that
a
is
fun
funny.
fun number to use.
Yes.
Very fun.
Yeah. But what I wanted to briefly move into is specifically about being in music, but you've got a lot of bands. So you've got groups like hip hop groups, collectives, where it's a bunch of individual rappers that come together and part of a group. But then you're running an actual band, which has got
You got a real band.
which has got saxophone players and trumpet players, a drummer, bass, guitar, piano, some percussion in there. I mean, you've got a full piece band there going. And so what I was curious to know is how is being a band trying to get your music out different than being like a solo artist? Because we here have just to relate it to what we're doing and comedy and stuff, each individual person here, like I could be a stand-up. I don't do stand-up anymore, but like if I was a stand-up comic, I'm a stand-up. Ron's an actor. Norm is an improviser. Joe's Joe. But we all do individual stuff, right?
Joe is Joe.
Collectively, we're a unit. We're a team, and
Yeah.
we have different roles, responsibilities. So for a band, how? Because it seems to me that you kind of run the majority of the band, et cetera, but you've got all these other components. So what's it like being a band trying to navigate the industry and find that niche versus being kind of like a solo artist? I feel you both kind of run, so I'm going to throw that out to both of you. I'd like just to hear what it took, and maybe we can find some interesting similarities and differences, and how does we mesh those together?
Well, I've always been in bands. I don't. I've done very little like under just my name. I have done like some composing, like some film composing and stuff like that under my name, but yeah, I think so. The band, the experience of having a band has been part of my music experience for many years.
Yes, I do recall in high school.
Yeah, I had a high school band, as did
Yes.
many people.
Yes.
Yeah, but so how's it different? I don't know if I really can compare it too much, but I will say that like when I talk to artists we're a 7-piece band. When I talk to artists that are like a 3 or a 2-piece, like a duo or something, and talk about like running a crowdfunding campaign like we're doing right now on Indiegogo, they're like, yeah, that's just not possible for us because we're only 2 people and our network is way less than a band with 7 people. And it's true, it has given us a little bit of an advantage to have 7 people, so there's a lot more of an organic outreach to our network, and so that's a positive. On the flip side, there's some challenges as well, like it sounds so mundane, but scheduling, like we can't get together as often. We can't get to, like, if I was a solo artist, I could work on my stuff whenever I want.
Right.
And I do a lot of writing on my own for the band, but like to actually get everybody together I've learned over the years that we have to plan ahead.
Yeah.
You have to plan this rehearsals like a month ahead. So yeah, there's some challenges and some advantages, I would say.
Yeah.
Ron, what about you? Because I know you've, based on what Max is saying, I know you've been involved in, I don't know, was it called like a rap collective? Group,
Our group, it was a handful of us. It was like me, Jay, Lee, B, and so it was like 6 of us. Okay, and that is, I totally understand what Max, what he's talking about as far as having the advantage of having multiple people, so you're able to do more. That's very true. Like when we were, promoting our stuff, and this was pre-social media, so we were literally out, putting stickers up and everywhere, So we all did that. So it goes further.
Right.
Being an independent group, running your own indie label as we did at that time, life happens. You know what I'm saying? People still had 9-to-5 jobs. We still doing this, recording music, doing shows on tour. We still doing all this stuff while we were still working. And then, things started to happen. Guys started getting older. People started getting married, started having kids and stuff. So then it came down to people moved away. You know what I'm saying? My DJ moved to South Beach. My manager moved to New York. And my boy Jason and I, Mike Messiah, shout out Jay. We became a duo then. So then we understood what the other guys were talking about. So when you have that big movement or a larger movement, then it kind of trickles down to where it's a couple of you. The advantage is, like you said, you're able to do more because you don't have to worry about trying to schedule times to get everybody together. Even though we were always together, so it was never an issue for us, but I can see how that could be a problem for other people. We didn't really see a difference, though, because we were just so used to grinding. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we were grinding, like, always. So we just had that grind in us. And the difference between hip-hop music and, like rock, alternative, it's way different, man. Like, Chicago is very, very, Chicago's a difficult place to promote anything you do because there's a lot of haters here, especially.
There's also just a lot of people doing the same shit.
But
Chicago's a big market where a lot of hip hop rap artists have come here. A lot of musicians have come out of here.
Chicago got a lot of haters. I feel like
third largest metropolitan area.
You can succeed in Chicago, and I mean succeed in Chicago like doing anything, like music, as an artist. If you got a T-shirt, if you can make things happen in Chicago, I feel like you can do it anywhere, because Chicago is it's a market that follows other people. And it follows people like on some face value shit. So if you look the role, sound the role, but you ain't really got it, you can fool a lot of people here because they're looking for that, especially if you got the right sound. So you can fake it till you make it here. But I didn't really see any issues as far as us go, as from when we were a group to when we kind of trickled down. I mean, we're still together, but it was just one of those things where we just kind of we just did our own thing anyway, because we didn't really care about being commercial, even though a lot of people saying that we were kind of heading towards that way. We still was on some underground backpack, even though we had our commercial songs and stuff, but we was like true to the culture and stuff. So we really wasn't all in on trying to like blow on that level. We just wanted to we just want our music heard.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Max, Ron brings up a good point, so I want to ask you. So when you've got a larger band, and I mean I've seen your band, it's wonderful. You've got a bunch of people. You got a 7-piece band. So how do you manage the band to keep the passion for the music going? Because you're touring, you're putting out albums. Obviously there's a love for the music, but as progressing over the years, and I know you've had the band for several years now, you've got people coming in and out and stuff. So what does it take to kind of keep a quality, right? I mean, it's not just about keeping the band together, but also the enthusiasm and the sound kind of like the same, right? So how do you go about managing that? How do you if any other friends who have bands that I don't know if you have any conversations about this, but what are some things that you do to kind of keep the quality that you want while maybe there are shifts and changes and but keeping it together so you get the sound that you want, right? Because at least from the music that I've heard and the songs I've heard, if you take out one of those saxophones, I feel like you could probably make do, but like I feel like you've really crafted it so if you have all those elements, it's perfect kind of a thing, and I've really enjoyed it, so I'm curious.
I think in my experience with bands and people that I know, like, talking to other band leaders, when you have a band that's like, maybe certain duos, trios, maybe quartets, like, will be more collective. But I think if you have a larger band, you really need like a dedicated, like strong person driving the bus.
Yep.
And that's me. So
Right.
I have really, I don't know. I try to give my band members like everything that they need in order to do like their best for the band. But I think if like, I don't know if that would keep going if I was not in the picture anymore. It's kind of one of those things where like you just need somebody to like chart the course of musically and like professionally, like career wise, like what are we trying to do? And then of course then it's a question of, is everybody in the band down? And
Right.
then you have those questions of, people leaving and people coming on board. But I think it all stems from that band leader that keeps things going.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and that's not to downplay the contributions of the band members at all, because they do a ton of work. But it's definitely like that has to, I don't know, like I think it can't be a total democracy. The band Gramps the Vamp early on tried total democracy, and we didn't get very much done. and so slow, it went through a few different stages, and eventually everybody who was like down was like on board with that program of, okay, Max is kind of leading this, and we're going forward with that vision. And then I'm super lucky because when that happened, and over the past like 5-6 years that's been the way we've done things, all the band members have embraced like that vision, and now it's almost like I don't have to like tell them this is what we're doing. They just like get it, and then it kind of has this life of its own. But I still kind of have, someone still needs to be in the steering wheel, I think, if you have this large of a group.
Makes
Yeah,
sense.
that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yep.
Well, let me ask you this, because I would agree with that. That makes a lot of sense. You do kind of need at least. That was what I was curious. At least I feel like you need at least 1 or 2 people in a large group, or at least a core group of people to keep.
We had a leader.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you got to have like that in order to keep things afloat and everything, so you can keep going towards continuing to make the music you love to make and all that. But here's an interesting question that I have for you.
Oh, shit. Here we go. I knew it was coming.
Well, I don't know if you know what I'm gonna ask. But,
I don't know what I'm
but
gonna
okay. But this is what I'm curious about. So you put in all this work. You're navigating this music industry that's got celebrities over, at the top, and you're a unique band in a unique genre, or any genre, alternative, whatever the fuck. But you're a band. You got a good group of dudes or gals, and guys and gals, and sorry, it's gonna happen.
It was the gesture. That's what did it.
Yeah, the gesture did it.
Jets and shocks.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. And and so you got this nexus, right? And you're like, hey, let's just make some cool music. At the end of the day, whether you're in a band, you're a solo hip hop rap artist, you're part of a collective, what is the ultimate success in music for a band solo artist? Right? So I'm going to just let it sit there right now and let you guys answer, because I have some other thoughts, but I want you guys to have the floor to discuss that.
I would say it's different for every person.
Absolutely.
Okay.
That's very true. It depends on what is successful to that person, how they view success. As far as, I remember when we were starting out, first time we got a song on the radio, that was like, oh, shit. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So it can be your first time you hear yourself on the radio. It can be that first album or CD or stream that you get. It can be that check, It can be like, man, we sold that. Hell, no one goes platinum anymore. But, it really depends. It all depends, because music sales is so different today. I think people have a more of a realistic outlook on things. I don't think everyone is shit, to me, I don't think there's no money in music, to be honest with you. I think music can open doors for you, but
If you're looking to make money, don't
thank you.
go into music.
Don't go into music, man.
That's not what happens.
It's not what happens because everybody's doing it.
That's like every creative field, right? I mean, it's just like if you're gonna follow something you're really passionate about, great.
Yeah.
But you don't need to expect money from it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get a theater degree, they're like, by the way, you're not gonna make any money.
Yeah, so
exactly.
love the journey, you know what I'm saying? Be passionate about what you're doing. If you're truly into it and you are if you're an artist, I mean, a lot of people get into, man, I'm going to rap because I want to get some bitches and I'm going to get it. I'm like, all right, dude, we'll see how long your ass lasts. It's funny, though. I just read this, Waka Flocka he just said the
Waka
other
Flocka.
Hey, hold on now.
Waka Flocka.
All day, though. He just said the other day, I forgot what he was on, but it's so great. He basically was like, yo, I think he said back in 2011, 2012, he had like 30 million of rap. And he was like, and I was a whack-ass rapper. and whoever was interviewing, they was like, you think it's whack? He's like, come on, dog. He's like, I was whack as hell. He was like, my favorite artists like Nas, he started naming like the legends and stuff. He was like, I know what I was doing. He's like, don't put me in a booth with Kendrick, K-Dot and shit. He's like, nah. He was like, I know how far I can go. But then he was like, yo, I'm trying to be a billionaire, dude. He's like, I know what I made off music. He made his money. He bounced. He started doing other stuff. So he didn't take himself serious. Mm. I think if you're going to make your money in hip-hop, because I can't speak on, first of all, if you're not playing a real instrument, I mean, that's the ultimate. I wish my mom got me playing an instrument. When I got older, I was like too fucking cool, and I was like, I don't want to be that old dude trying to play. I want to be good.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? I want to be
right.
young, whack as hell. By the time I got older, I want to be bad as hell. So I ain't want to be bad as an old man and shit. So I was like, fuck it. But I wish I did have a chance to play an instrument, because that's something I always want. I love live music, and I love instruments. I listen to everything, rock, all that shit. But I thought it was really funny that he was so in tune with himself and so honest that he was like, yo, dude, I was whack, man. But I love that. I fucking love that. So if you honest and then you do music, if you honest in your music, you'll blow. If you got half the damn talent, but if you honest, someone is going to resonate with that. Yeah. And it's going to go. Because all this fake shit, people are smart today. People see through that.
Yeah.
Billie Eilish just basically called out some artists. She was like, y'all ain't doing that shit. Y'all are not doing it. She said she heard somebody do a song, said they had an AK, and they was like, fucking. It's like, you are not banging nobody with an AK. Come on. If you are, then look out, girl, because somebody on the way. You know what I'm saying? You better get about it.
Yeah.
And if you don't feel it as an artist, you can't expect other people to feel what you're doing.
Max, say that again, man. Say it again. Say that again.
If you don't feel what you're doing as an artist, you can't expect anyone in the audience to feel what you're doing as an artist. Yeah. So...
Well, the reason why I asked that question is because obviously there are people who play music but are not exactly in a band or in a group or like really they just play music because they enjoy music. It brings them some comfort and whatnot. Yep. But the reason why I asked is because if you're part of a band or if you're part of a group, is there there's I guess a stigma that we're in a band, we're gonna tour and do live shows and we're gonna try and sell albums and stuff. So I was curious from your perspective that was still the mantra of if you're an artist, do it for the art, or if there's any other stigmas about being in a band or but I guess it goes back to your point. You got to have somebody who's like, this is the vision, this is what we're trying to accomplish, and then you got to get the people by. Is that pretty much the gist of, would you agree with that statement, or is there any other differences in that?
That you need the
a
leader?
Stigma around what success of being in a band would be and things of that, or making it to the upper echelon, selling out crowds and blah, blah, blah.
Coliseums.
Right.
Yeah.
Shit, you know what I mean?
I think that it's been a process. I'm 30 now, and I think when I was 20, I was thinking about stuff like that, And now I have a much more realistic idea of what making it means. Not having made it, I've gotten here and I'm done. I made it. I don't think that exists. I think it's more about doing it and making it in the present. If you are enjoying what you're doing, if it's sustainable for you, if people are are liking it, like if you're getting good feedback, like that's all I could ask for.
I think it's like an evolution. You know, over time, you grow with your music, and you know your artist, your audience grows, your depth grow. You get better songwriter. You get better at playing instruments. You get better at rapping. I mean, things just get better. So I think over time, you just grow, and your subject matter changes. And I think that's the thing. And one thing about, I say this all the time, it's amazing how rap music or hip hop music, you know, they consider it a young person's genre. You know, no other genre. I mean, no one has a like an age cap.
Well, it's interesting because they like blues, you would consider like an older person genre almost, right? Because like I've gone through life and now I have all these blues kind of thing.
True.
But although hip hop has got its roots from like jazz and blues, which is interesting.
Yeah, and hip hop got its roots from, I mean, shit, pretty much everything, you know. And I think the more you have lived, I feel like the more you have things to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because I'm not gonna sit. I mean, all right. So if you got bars, it don't matter how old you are. I'm gonna check you out. You know. But if you got bars, you know, but you're a certain age and you saying some stuff, I'm kind of like, how do you know about that? You know, like I'm not about to listen to no 15-year-old kind of like tell me like, come on, man. Whose story is that? You know what I'm saying? You didn't live that life. You don't even know about that. Mm-hmm. But when you get older, you get 30, 35. Now imagine a rapper that was, you know, in his early, like for instance, rest in peace, Prodigy of Mobb Deep. Prodigy at one point was one of the best rappers in the game. Okay, he started out at like 17 years old. So he passed away a couple years ago. Complication. There's a lot of stuff around people, but if he was still around, you know, he would be in his like mid-40s and stuff right now. He got a lot of shit to talk about. You know, he was dealing with sickle cell, just the lifestyle he came up in. I feel like people like that is like, man, but the young rappers or the young artists, they're like, I don't want to listen. They old. I don't want to listen to these old rappers. So I feel like the respect in hip hop and rap, I wish it was there. It's not the same respect for any other genre. You know what I'm saying? And that's the one thing that I wish that was there.
Well, that's interesting. Max, do you find what Ron is saying holds any true to like the musical genres that you've been a part of? Because I believe you did some jazz stuff, you've done some other stuff. So
Yeah.
you find that similar-esque or not so much?
I do think it's a little different with hip hop and rap. It's more about like very explicitly about like the personal experience, because a lot of it is like that's the content.
Hip hop came out
you know?
from like the struggles of the ghetto.
Sure.
And stuff,
Yeah.
you know, it's like
Right.
having a voice. So.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's like an exact correlation, but yeah, I just don't think there's an exact correlation.
Well, there you go. Well,
Period.
period. Put a cork in
Yeah.
that.
Corking that.
Last question I have before we move on for you, Max, which I'm curious about. What, in your opinion, makes a band great or a musical group great? Is it a great live performance? Is it the sound of their music? Because you made some very interesting points tonight about you have to feel your art or else nobody else will. So what is it about a band or a group that makes them great? Part two of the question is, and how are you striving in your own band to achieve that type of a greatness?
I already know the answer to that.
Okay, well, I asked Max.
I know what I'm
jerk.
saying. I know.
So Max, not Ron.
What makes an artist great? I think what makes an artist great is that their art and what they're doing couldn't be done by anyone else. Like I think it's like about the individuality of it and like the I just think it's like about the clear vision and the authenticity and the individuality of what they're doing. What was the second question?
How do
I do that?
Trying to strive towards that?
Yeah, I think like on a very minute level, on like a very small level, like when I'm deciding, when I'm composing and deciding like, does the song go here? Does the song go there? Like I try to like, if there's a question, if there's like there's like 5 different things that we could do, I don't make the decision. It's only when it's like, no, it has to be this, because like this is what we do. This is what is authentic to us. And so I think I strive for it on a very like small level, and then on a big picture level, I strive for that carving out a niche that is unique enough to what I'm hearing. And, that is this sort of, for Gramps the Vamp, this kind of like dark, noir, groove-centric, heavy, like psych sound, mixing a lot of different genres together. But I think it's a little bit on the macro scale and a little bit on the micro scale, like the exact decisions you make during songwriting, and then of course like the big decision of where do I want to take this group,
All right.
Yeah,
Nice.
I gotta follow that and shit.
Yeah. Any last thoughts, Ron? You want to add to what Max said before we move on?
Yeah, he Max had some great points. I'm just gonna add, what makes a great group or artist or a duo or whatever. I think it starts with songwriting, rather it be heavy wordplay or short, concise, but clear vision, straight to the point where people can get it. Consistency is dope. Being consistent, that is important. I mean, that's pretty much for everything. We preach that with everything we do. And just being true to yourself, music or sonically, you know what I'm saying?
Right, yeah.
One of the things, like I was going to say, like a couple questions ago, what keep us motivated and excited? Production, man. Those beats. That kept us because my guys were always making beats. So we would just be sitting up. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. They just cranking out shit. So we sitting there, we smoking, we hanging out.
Jam sessions, I would imagine, playing concerts, right?
Yeah.
When you hear your guy making something and it's like, damn. And I'm like, you already like, yo, I got it. Can I get on that track? So you got everybody like, I want to be on that. It's like, dude, we only have 3 people on this shit. We don't want to have like a 7-minute song. We trying to get this like some radio shit.
Yeah.
But, yeah, man, production, songwriting, and then you got a clear vision and originality. Like, I can't stand people that sound like, it's a lot of artists that are really good, but they just sound all the same.
Yeah.
And I feel like back in the day, you couldn't bite, you couldn't copy, everyone sound original. There were gatekeepers that basically made sure that you was official before you was able to get through and get on. You don't have that anymore. That's the only thing. That's a problem now. It's great that the social media and you got different avenues where you can walk your dogs and do everything yourself, but you don't have anyone checking people at the door like, nah, yo ass whack. Get the fuck out of here. You don't have that.
Right.
So everybody's doing it. Everybody got music. Everybody think they hot. But then the true telltale story is who's following you.
Right. Yeah, I think that, with the internet and YouTube and everything, it's just easier to get stuff out, and it's interesting to see those who progress farther than others. Talent be damned in some cases,
It's probably the subject matter.
But I think to what you gentlemen were saying, I think it's, at least from my personal observations, I feel it is definitely in any artistic format you endeavor into, music, comedy, etc. I would have to agree. It definitely is. You have to find your voice in a way, whether it's pen to paper writing a song, composing a piece of music,
That's very true.
putting together some lyrical bars for a rap, putting together a comedic piece, putting together a comedy video, whatever it is. Finding the voice of who you are as a person, consistently putting out your work if you love it enough, and then just trusting in your abilities.
And I would also like to say, like, it's a process. Like, it's not like I look back on the stuff that I've released in the past, and like I'm like,
Yep, same thing.
It's not super original. I'm getting there, And I think as an artist, you're constantly on the way.
Right.
Like, I don't think you're ever like, oh, I'm here and this is my style now.
Well, then what would be the point then?
I think you're
continuing.
Exactly. I think you're constantly just trying to figure out, and I think it's just about the process of it, getting to something that feels the most authentic and
Right.
that feels unique and individual.
Yeah.
It's constantly a process. You're constantly getting better, and
that's what the pursuit of
That's
the art
what it's
is
all
for,
about.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's what the pursuit of that art form is for, is to constantly improve and put out better music
Yeah.
or comedy or
Yeah.
whatever it is. I mean, like Dave Chappelle in his special being like, I'm so good at this shit.
Yeah,
but like,
he is.
he's still putting out
He's
specials
so
because
good.
he's still learning, because there's so many other people, and there's so many other people you can learn from, and he's like, so there's always that. So thanks for that wonderful discussion. Unfortunately, we're going to have to cut it off there and move on. But that was delightful.
That was.
I really, really enjoyed that
I
conversation.
love talking music.
Yeah,
man.
it's been great. We'll love to, we'll get to that. We'll have you back on another time. We'll continue conversation other ways. But it's time to move on. But before we move on to our next segment,
Sounds like a
I just wanted to let you know about our other sponsor, which is the Sears Tower. Guys, I don't know who this guy Willis is, but he's stolen my tower. Guys, we're not really that bankrupt, okay? Willis he's confided us into a jail cell in a basement. I'm not sure where in the city exactly it is, but we're trying to get out. We're trying to claim our tower back, guys. We want our tower back, okay? It's the Sears Tower, not Willis. Fuck Willis. I'm writing this copy, but using a chewed off piece of lead pencil that I got from the guy next door,
What you
and
talking
writing
about,
on a piece of toilet paper, and I've sent it into the Chicago 60. Guys, you have to save the Sears Tower. We are locked away. Find Willis. Get Willis out of there and bring us back forever. #forever Sears Tower. Wow. Okay.
Yo, dude,
Whoa.
I think we got to do something about that.
Yeah, seriously.
Like,
#forever
serious?
Sears Tower.
Should we like call
you
the
heard it here.
police or something? I mean,
I don't know what happened to Sears, but they're gone. and
Hey,
and now
actually,
there's some guy,
no,
Willis.
No
I don't know.
snitching, man. No snitching, dog.
Always the Sears Tower. Well, thank you, Sears Tower, for sending in that copy.
Hey, sorry,
Appreciate
Sears.
your sponsorship. And with that, gentlemen, it's time for our favorite segment of the week.
It's favorite.
It is time for the
The
Jag-Off of the Week.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this week's...
Wait, hold on. Everybody, this is something that is really, really important to JJ. So please hear him out on this week's Jag-Off of the Week. Go ahead.
Jag-Off! This week's Jag-Off is a team
Take your time.
that
Take your time. It's okay.
I was a part of in my youth that
This eye kills
has
me too.
disgraced me and anybody who has been part of it, and all fans of my favorite sport in the world. Some call it football. Some call it football.
What do you call it?
Some call it the real football. Others call it soccer. The Jag-Off of the week is the Chicago Fire
Oh my God.
for creating the dumbest goddamn logo I have ever fucking seen. They had an amazing logo with the crest and the C. I have the jerseys in my closet that I played with when I was a young child. I was on the original Chicago Fire Academy. That logo meant something to me. And they came out with a fucking logo that looks like they stole it from another team, number one. Number two, it looked like a monkey who had Down syndrome could have come out with that goddamn logo. I am so angry. So is most of the Chicago Fire fandom. We are not happy about this. I don't know what marketing agency or whoever, who came up with this crap that's on there. Yeah, give me that. Give me that. Okay, this is the actual logo of the Chicago Fire, okay? You got the thing, you got the crest here, you got the fire there, you got the big C, okay? This is the real Chicago Fire, goddammit, okay?
Now your jersey is a throwback.
Yeah. Oh, God. Hashtag Chicago Fire throwbacks. So you know what? God damn it, Chicago Fire. I haven't even gone to a Chicago Fire game. You put crap out on the field. Now you're putting crap on the shirt. If you put crap on the shirt, you're going to get crap on the field. You got to look good to play good, and you look like shit. So what the fuck? I'm not paying for any goddamn tickets until you change the goddamn logo. Hashtag change the logo. We're starting it here on the Chicago 60.
Are we going to start that?
Hashtag change the logo. You pieces of shit in the marketing department and leadership of Chicago Fire.
Well, it looks like they
Not
won't
a
be
fan.
doing any marketing for us.
No, they will not. Y'all can go fuck yourselves. So
Tell us how
You gonna hold yourself to that? I'm not gonna buy any tickets until you
Oh,
change the logo
100%.
thing.
I mean, like I watch British Premier League, EPL, English Premier League, hands down to begin with. Anyway, my team is Arsenal, which isn't doing good either. But I will seriously not go to a Fire game because one, MLS soccer is pretty crap for the most part.
I don't
in
even know
terms of-
soccer, but
I'm telling you. Well, I know soccer, and you see. Okay, thank you. I mean, it's just not great stuff. They're expanding a bunch of teams. They're all trying to come out
aren't
these
they
fancy
like all
logos.
the guys that play in all the dope leagues and they like get old and they start playing over
There's
here?
that. Okay, there's that. They get like all the retiree
Yeah,
best
yeah,
players,
right.
or they get like all of the best players from like the lower leagues in
Oh,
countries,
and they
or like
come
the
over.
less known leagues, like Austrian league and all that shit to come over here. And then you know
Yeah.
those guys aren't bad per se, but
Yeah.
the level and quality. And American soccer sucks because they don't let their play. It's just a
We do
whole
suck.
cycle thing, and it starts with the goddamn shitty logos. So goddamn it, change the fucking logo.
Hey.
You jag-offs.
Y'all want some talent? I'm
God.
gonna change y'all logos, man. You
Change the
can't-
fucking logo.
You know the logo is what.
That had tradition and history.
You know the logo is important.
The Fire won their first season as their inaugural season. They won the championship with that logo, and then you go and change it.
You go and just change that. What the fuck were y'all thinking
you
about, man?
fucking jagoffs.
fuck?
God, and I love Chicago teams, but you
You
fucking
know what?
jagoffs.
Seriously, Chicago.
Jagoffs. Max, would you like to give a jagoff to the jagoffs?
No pressure. No pressure.
Oh, no pressure.
No.
I'm actually kind of glad they're gonna be in the city.
There
Okay,
you have
well
it.
there is that. All right.
They're not gonna be in. They're not gonna be in
And they're on
Bridge.
WGN.
Bridge
there are
viewer.
some positives. It's just the logo that sucks.
Hey,
Just the
no one's
logo
gonna
that
force me to be
sucks.
negative.
Exactly. That's why
No one's gonna
I
force
picked
me.
up on your vibe right away. Right away.
All right. Well,
Other shout out to the original logo was of course inspired by the Chicago Fire Department logo.
Correct.
That's what I thought.
Yep. Also true.
I was
Which is
like-
also very cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
shout out
I
to
will
the
say the new logo isn't like anything though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's-
It's not. It's
it's
like
an oval and then a smaller oval
I mean,
and then like little.
if you're gonna
flames
change the
and-
logo,
It looks like you
Make
gave
it
your
cooler
kid
than that.
Photoshop and when he was bored and you're like,
It's
play
like
on this.
You know what it looks like? It looks like a parent went to their kid and was like, "Hey, draw what is on the top of a rooster or a turkey." And then the kid's like, "Okay." And then they put their hand and they do, and they're like, "Okay, now do it on the other side." And then they do it on the other side, and they're like, "Okay, now draw two ovals." And that's the fucking Fire logo.
All right, so what if it is someone's
Fucking
kid?
jagoffs.
Mm.
Don't care. Put that kid is never going to art school.
Justin.
Fuck that kid.
Justin, you're being
I'm sure someone's
care.
kid made it.
somebody's kid, man.
Could you imagine if it was me? Somebody in the marketing department was just like, Daddy, or Mommy, I made the logo for the Fire. They're like, oh.
fine.
And then they threw it up to the board, and somehow people
It's-
are like, yeah, that looks great.
Yeah,
and
it's
they're like,
stuck.
oh,
It's
fuck.
just
And then it
stuck.
just stuck.
They was like,
You're missing the point.
Yeah.
Kid made it.
Someone's kid did make that.
somebody's kid did make it. It might be a grown kid.
Yeah.
Somebody's kid made it.
I don't
They're
care.
fucking proud and how they paid.
Dude, you know
Yeah.
they're proud as hell right now. They are proud, probably rolling in a Tesla right now.
I don't care. You're all jagoffs for that shitty logo. Hashtag change the logo. Chicago Fire, jagoffs. All right. Until you win a championship, then you're off my shit list. But until then, you're all jagoffs. All right. Well, that was the jagoff of the week. That concludes this episode of the Chicago 60 podcast. But I'd like to end by letting you all know that this podcast is also sponsored by Gramps the Vamp.
That's right.
Because this is an amazing band, and we just want to let you know that they have they're trying to release a brand new album. They've got an Indiegogo page, and I am happy to report, which I was going to do on the podcast, but Norm has already stolen my thunder.
Norm beat him to
But
the
we
punch.
have made a contribution ourselves to Gramps the Vamp Indiegogo page. We have pledged $250 to their album release.
Thank you,
We
guys.
all want you to do the same thing. You don't have to necessarily do $250 or do,
Or
but
you-
any amount
but you can,
helps.
though.
Help this amazing man. We're going to post some of their music on our page. You can listen to how good their stuff is. Help them get to their next album, and also so they can tour. These guys are fucking great. This guy is fucking great. He's had it was amazing conversation. Help him out. We're helping him out. Go and do it, okay? We'll be posting the Indiegogo page tomorrow and throughout the week, plus some of their music throughout the week. Check them out. Help them out. Let them continue to make great music for you here in the land of Chicago.
The most popular rewards to choose are the download of the album, $15, and the vinyl record, $25.
Nice.
I would say get a vinyl record.
Get a vinyl.
$25, guys. Come on.
Even if you don't have, I know most people ain't got turntables.
How many of those are you making?
Record player, get it, yo.
Most likely 500. That's
And-
just like the smallest you can make and make it work
But
financially.
it's limited, but it'll be a limited supply.
It will be a limited supply. Yes.
There you go. So you get it now, folks. Get it now. We'll be posting.
Collectible.
Go to our page and find them. Max, where else can they find Gramps the Vamp and yourself for amazing music and other announcements?
You can go to grampsthevamp.com and you can also go to maxmcgathey.com for my personal stuff and like film score stuff that I do on the side as well.
And
Max with 2 X's.
yes, Max with 2 X's. We will put all of those links into the descriptions of the podcast and all the videos that will go up on YouTube. So you can find it there. You can also find him on Instagram at Gramps the Vamp for the band and at Maxx McGathey as well. Send him a message, find out about where you can find more of the music, and follow them. Follow them. God damn it.
Follow them.
Follow-
You heard him. You
follow
heard him.
them.
He told you wait.
Follow
he told you where
them.
you at. Max two X's, not
Yes.
3. So that might lead you to somewhere else.
That's
It's
right.
a different story.
Exactly. Well, thank you, Max, for coming on the show. I really
Absolutely,
appreciate you
man.
for being
Thank
here,
you,
man. It
guys.
was a great
Thank you.
conversation.
Yeah, you're great.
I also
A lot of
want to
fun.
thank my wonderful co-host, Ron Russell, for being here as
Thank
always.
you.
Thank you, Ron.
Hey, you know,
Wonderful
I'm happy to be
conversations,
here. You as well,
contribution.
brother. Thank you.
Thank you to Quiet.
That's
Quiet.
right.
Storm
Quiet,
and Norman
Quiet.
taking the photos, running the show.
Quiet
Thank you very
clicker.
much. And of course, thank you to
Clicker.
Joe Nilo for all of his wonderful insights and also helping to produce the show.
That's right.
Thank you very much, guys. And that concludes an episode of the podcast. If you liked what you heard, please follow us on Facebook.
Yes.
Follow us on YouTube if you
Yes.
want to watch video. We're going to be doing an episode of Couch Stories right after this with Max. You can learn a little bit more about him. So you can only see that on YouTube. So make sure to go to the YouTube page, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. We're also releasing a new comedy video every Thursday, y'all. So check those out. You can only get those on YouTube. So hit that. We're on Instagram at Chicago_60 at Chicago_60. And of course, if you're listening to this on iTunes or Spotify, leave us a 5-star review and follow and subscribe us. That really helps us with the rankings so more people can learn about cool people like Max and cool shit going on in our wonderful city that we call Chicago.
right.
So go do all that, y'all.
Do all that now.
And now, we have to end every episode with our favorite phrase of all time. On the count of 3. You guys ready?
You gotta say this one.
You have to.
I'm down.
1, a 2, a 3.
Bear down and fuck the Packers.
All right, that was another episode of the Chicago 60. We shall see you with another amazing guest next week.
Yeah, I like your jersey though.